Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another Friday the 13th Spooktacular. All right, we're getting into the serious shit now, right? None of that kid shit. None of that PG-13 bullshit.
No, this one is fucking blood.
This is possibly the first rated X comic. We don't know. There's enough tits in it and there's enough gore in it that it might have... If you filmed it as is on screen, it would definitely be a rated X movie. It would be like one of those Skinamax movies, but with a lot more horror than normal. So yeah, anyway.
We have for Skinamax version of Jason. No?
Yes, this is the first Avatar, of the Avatar imprint. Avatar being they're kind of like they came out of nowhere in like the mid-2000s. I remember when they started because it was like, you would get like Ward Ellis and Alan Moore and people writing books for them, but it was because they were just like, please write something for us. We'll let you do anything. And they're like, anything?
Anything?
Like, we will write anything. And so there's a bunch of weird series that came out, like, of each of those, like, Grant Morrison. Everybody, all those crazy writers had, like, a series with these guys. And some of them, I think, are good, and some of them are like, what the fuck? But, like, specifically one called Crossed I read was very, like, what the fuck? So that was interesting. But we won't go into that. We almost read that for one of these Halloween episodes, or for our main podcast, but I deemed it too hardcore for our Halloween podcast. So if you want to see a hardcore, fucked up horror thing that might be on the edge of disturbing, and you want to listen to what that's about, tell us you want to hear Crossed, Volume 1. All right, and we will do that. For one.
I don't even know if I'm ready for this. And Matt's
You're ready for it.
If you guys want it, you let us know.
I read it, but we have to. I'm not just going to read some fucked up thing that no one else wants to read. So, I mean, it was by Garth Ennis. It's a good story. It's just Garth Ennis unfiltered, with no holds bar. Just craziness. So, that's what Avatar was to me. It was like, oh, we can do anything we want on this, and we will do anything we want on this. And the quality might not be great. Like, it's weird. A lot of the art, very similar for every series. Like, I couldn't tell you who a lot of like, either they got the same artist or they just had a house standard that was like, this is what everything looks like.
The guy on the next two we do, Mike Wolver, apparently does all the art for the whole.
Yeah, I don't know, because this says story by Brian Pulido, pencils by Mike Wolfer. So, I mean, if Mike Wolfer does every series, then that makes sense. But I think there was a house style, like maybe there's one guy that would just change his name for every book or something, because literally, if you look at the covers, you're like, "This the same artist on all these?" Okay, it seems like they are, but who knows? So this is not pulling any punches. Friday the 13th, like we said, it's called Bloodbath for a fucking reason.
It starts out with a nice deer.
A deer? Who doesn't like deer?
A deer
nice foggy. And who should appear behind the deer? We see the shadow of Jason. And I thought, you know what? It's pretty nice of Jason. We see the deer's body, but he's got blood on his blade, but we don't know what happened. And the deer's just there. I'm thinking, did he kill the deer just now? What happened? Because he's got blood on his blade. But then out of nowhere, a car is driving on the road, because I guess the deer stepped out onto the road, as did Jason. And we see there's two... hunters, I guess. They just got on their hunting trip. And the woman, there's a female and a male, although the female is driving the truck, and she is asking the man to grab her tit harder. She's like, what are you, a pussy? Grab that tit and pinch it, god damn it, or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Like, this is
right off the bat.
Yeah, so this is the first page. This is letting you know what to expect in this book. So this guy he's grabbing for all his life at her boobies. They're not out. They're clothed, but we know what this story's about. And so I will say, Brian Pulido, if you don't know, very, very like famous for Lady Death. I don't know if you've seen that character or know who she is. He also made Evil Ernie. So like two very like underground, but like it's like Evil Dead. Like, if you're in the know and you're cool,
Lady Death,
you know these
familiar.
characters. She's had a lot of like. I guarantee if I show you a picture, you will know who she is, because she got a body for days. She got legs for days. She is like basically in a swimsuit, but she has a big ass sword with skulls on it. She looks kind of pale or whatever. and then she, I don't know, fights evil or some shit. It's kind of like Vampirella or one of those kind of.
She fights evil or some shit.
I don't know. I've never read it. I just know the covers because every time you walk by the aisle, you're like, oh, boobs. So
yes. Okay. I decided to Google while he was explaining it to me. Yeah, and she's got
she's got a swimsuit on, a very like micro
swimsuit, but
bikini.
she usually got like a cape or some wings in her things too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. She's got all white hair.
Yes.
Yes, I've seen.
Very popular character underground.
I remember around this time the young budding John is like, I want to read that comic.
Yeah. I don't know
that one in Witchblade. I don't know why, but those ones.
Mom, I want to go to the comic store again. I need to now. Also, we need to buy some softer tissues. But yeah, so he's famous for those comics. And I say famous because this dude makes a shit ton of money underground, like in the like Indiegogo market, like for one-off comics, like total like himself printing comics. Yeah. So I mean, this dude makes like money like doing this. So like he's one of the most off guys doing comics, and he doesn't even make anything for publishers or anything. Yeah. So pretty cool that he can do that. But I guess in the mid 2000s, he was like, I don't want to write Jason. Like he's never going to get that franchise, so maybe that's why Avatar was like, yeah, we'll let you write that. So anyway, that's why this book specifically has a lot of sex in it, I think, because of that, but also because it's Avatar. So right away they see him, but it's too late. They hit him, and Jason flies over the top, and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe we hit a man. And they're like, it's not even hockey season. Like, what the fuck? And they stop, and they go to like save him. The deer. They have a deer in the back of their truck bed or whatever. And I like this. You can see from Jason's point of view, he kind of like gets up and he goes after him. They start shooting at him. But it's too late. He grabs them. And I guess he just pulls out their insides, but he hangs them from a tree. So like he pulls out their intestines and whatnot, and so you can all see just how gory and gross it is. So then we cut to later, 6 months later, and it says Camp Tomorrow is where this place is. Obviously, this is probably the newly dawned Camp Crystal Lake.
The new Camp Crystal Lake.
Apparently.
the new freshness. Yeah. So 6 months later, and it's weird because now like their people are coming up to the camp, and they're like, the guy that comes up, his name is the project leader. His name is Kevin, and he's says some kind of rehabilitation camp, and but they don't say what for.
I mean, yeah, I took it as like these are maybe like wayward kids, but like
yeah,
they're all a little. They're not kids.
No, they're like late.
So maybe they were like juvie kids or something that just got released or some shit. I don't know.
That's true. There's some tattoos thrown in there. There's some
tattoos, huh? They must have been real bad.
I'm just saying. Well, what do you think of when they're like, oh yeah, well they're tattooed out. They got some piercings. They're hip and rad.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I didn't know. This is a very diverse cast as well.
Yes.
You know, they went out of their way to really in 2007 to diverse it up. You know what I'm saying? Which I like. You know, Jason is an equal opportunity killer. Right? He will murder.
It doesn't matter. We have learned this for it doesn't matter for.
Are you a homeless person? Are you a dog? Are you a baby? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
he
matter.
Will kill you.
Unless you're a wayward child who's
who's got a deformed face,
kind of reminds Jason of a young him.
Yeah,
he's the only pass.
Or Leatherface. If you're Leatherface, you both connect on your masks.
They get yeah.
Huh? We both wear masks. Yeah. So, yeah. Basically, they start this off by saying like, okay, we're a bunch of kids and we're gonna rehabilitate this camp along with you, kind of thing. And when we say kids, like I said, I can't tell if they're 25 or 17. So the way they draw them, you're not 100% sure. Because all I can say is those girls or women are really, really, really full figured. So
yes, every one of them.
Yeah, and they all know exactly what they want from the men. So, or the people they are into. Because, like we said, diverse cast. And so right away, they split off into their camp. They're like separate, cabins, the girls and the boys. And the girls are like, who are you going to fuck? I call dibs on Brian. I call dibs on blah, blah, blah. I call dibs on...
Very, very much right away like, oh, I thought that one guy was cute. Oh, okay, well, I think that other guy was, yeah.
And then we see one girl says, I think you're cute. So we know, oh, there's a lesbian.
Okay.
And...
LGBT representation in this. We got it.
Yeah.
Like you said, diverse across the board.
There's at least an L and a B in this. So,
yes.
Or a Q. I don't know. She calls herself queer. She might not be just a lesbian.
We don't know. Yeah, we're not gonna define her sexuality because they don't come out and say it here. But like I said, they're different across the board of diverse characters.
Yeah. So and then we see like
and the guys are like, yeah,
the guys the same thing. They're like, who are you gonna fuck? I'm gonna fuck this girl. I'm gonna fuck that girl. Can't wait till tonight. And basically they tell them, hey, tomorrow the hard work starts, but tonight, and they pull like a sheet off of like a trailer they brought, and it's got whiskey and all kinds of alcohol, all kinds of anything you could want. And then also they're saying like, oh, there's like a hot tub and shit here. There's all this stuff like prepared for them, almost it seems. Weirdly prepared for them. So, like we said, they have already kind of chosen who they want. So now that there's like a bonfire going on later that night, everybody's kind of broken off into two partners, partner each, of who they were talking about earlier.
And they're all chatting kind of right before they're all going to go off and do what these kiddos, we'll call them, do. They're all find out like, oh, like you were an orphan. That's crazy. Like I was in foster care, and like
I was also an orphan.
Yeah, and the only one girl we're gonna really mention. There's two characters that we'll mention names. Violet, her hair happens to be violet. It puts it all together. She's the main one. That's like, oh wow, like all of us are either orphans or we're foster kids at some point. That's such a crazy coincidence.
Yeah.
And then the guy that she's hooking up with, his name is Rich.
Yeah.
And
we don't care about the other people's names because
let's just say they don't make it too long.
We'll call them number 1 and number 2, number 3, number 4 because they all fucking die. So basically like they start separating into different peoples who are going to go off and fuck places. We do get introduced to the handyman who kind of comes out of nowhere and spooks them for a second. They're like, oh no, don't worry, this is the handyman.
He's just a handyman, don't mind him.
The maintenance guy, don't worry.
I do like they started playing Truth or Dare and drinking, and it just gets more and more out of hand.
I love how it's like literally one question in, like, show me how big your dick is.
Yeah.
Like there's not even like they're already like ready to go. Or there's no foreplay on there's no pretend on building this up like innocently.
No.
We're not those kind of kids. We're fucking foster kids. We know how to play Truth or Dare for real. So there's no time to fuck around. You never know what house you're going to be in next.
Who do you have a crush on?
Yeah, none of that. It's how big's your dick? You want to fuck me?
Are we doing this?
Okay,
yeah.
There's two questions. That's why they call them 2 questions Sam. Right? So, but yeah. So anyway, there's like we said, there's a hot tub of stuff. People getting freaky in the hot tub. Which the weird kind of gross thing about this is the couple came back from the hot tub and they were like, yeah, you should go in the hot tub. We fucked in there. And then they're like, yeah. And I'm like, ew. You just fucked in the hot tub. I don't want to go in the hot tub.
Yeah, that's it's kind of unsanitary.
Are those bubbles?
I don't know.
Covered in sperm. I don't know. They probably are. So it's disgusting. So the idea that they would just take turns in the hot tub after each other are gross. But
yeah. And the leader guy is like, he walks by, is like, everybody's already kind of getting to those points, and he's like, well, y'all have fun, don't stay up too late.
Yeah, remember, we got to work tomorrow. And then he walks away, and he, suspiciously looks at people outside of his tent. So we get like we said, they all start kind of breaking off into their groups. A couple people around the fire still. But then there's like, oh, let's go skinny dipping. And then, oh, let's go in the hot tub. Let's go into the bedroom.
Let's go back to the cabin. Yeah.
Exactly. So the skinny dipping couple, first couple here, they jump in. We get, like we said, these are adult comics for adults like us who like Jason and like tits, all right?
Wow.
So if you like Jason movies, you know what to expect. But these don't hold back anything. So, they hold back a little bit. It's not like rated X or something, but it's like, it's like R. You definitely get a rated R for all this stuff. And like we said, it's like a Skinamax movie or something, like a softcore movie with a lot of violence in it. We'll say, but yeah. So these people are running around, they're cavorting next to the lake, that they're skinny dipping in, and who should show up? But my man Jason, and
they just start having sex, and they're like, oh man, like this is getting hot, and they start having sex, and then Jason shows up, and this is the first deaths of the campers, or these, these kids at this camp.
They do this on purpose, I think, too. They specifically make the deaths funny or like memorable.
Just
we'll say.
so outrageous,
over the top. Yeah, because like this dude is thrusting in her, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're so big, Todd. Todd, I love you so harder," or whatever. And then when she says harder, Jason puts his foot on that dude's back, like on the top of his ass, and pushes down as hard as he can. His foot goes through the guy and the girl, and like, so it's like, like
it's
So they die, but they always died like I always hoped I would,
Wow.
Died from snoo or whatever. But yeah, and then we cut to we actually the main characters, they're like in, I will say the main characters being Violet and what's his name, Rich. So Violet and Rich, they're in a cabin. They're about to make it, after they were in the hot tub. So then we see like a couple of the groups besides them. We see the lesbian or the two girls who are curious or whatever talking to each other like, "Oh, I don't know, you're a bisexual?" It's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, cool, I'm queer, so we should totally get into this or whatever." And then they're just talking about it mostly. And then we see another couple, a guy and a girl, and the guy's like, "Oh my God, your nipples are pierced? That's so hot. Anything else pierced?" She's like, "Oh, you know it." And then as she's talking about piercings, Jason comes out of nowhere and pierces them both. So he pierces them by chopping them in half, of course. So just brutally chops them in half. They're gone. Pretty straightforward death there. No, not really ironic there. He could have pierced them with a bunch of spears or some shit or something, but he did not. But then we see the two guys that are running this camp that set up this whole thing. They're seeing this and they're like, "Okay, cool. Like, how many more left?" Or what? It's already started. I can't believe it's already happening.
Yeah, it's happening kind of so fast.
Yeah. So they're in on it. They know who Jason is, what's going on, and so then the camp kids had said earlier, "Hey everybody, let's meet here at midnight so we can do like a midnight toast and then we'll all go to bed or whatever." So like the ones that are left, which is like Violet and Rich, there's two other couples, the lesbian couple and the African American couple. They come in and they're like, "Wait, where is everybody else?" And they're like, "I don't know. They said we were all supposed to be here at midnight," and so they kind of go to look for them, but no one finds anything yet except the main guys see how many kids are left and they're like, "Oh, let's go look for the other." They see the dead other kids, so they're like, "Okay, definitely Jason's working." And so I was like, man, this is surprising. Like, Jason doesn't find them or anything, the two guys. Like, I'm surprised he doesn't just find them or whatever. But when Rich and Violet are looking for them, they find Jason's little house.
Come across Jason's little shack.
Yeah, they're like, "What's the shack?" They go in there, and Jason's like, "Get the fuck out of my house! I got a ring, a doorbell ring or whatever, and I saw you was walking up here." And so he just comes out of nowhere and starts to attack them, but they're able to get away because he's a bad. I guess he like tries to hit her and it like catches a piece of wood or whatever with his machete. So they run away, and then we get like the kind of breakdown of what actually is going on with these two guys. They get a call. They put everybody got a finger to their ear. "Hello."
Yeah, they have
over
their earpieces in.
Yeah, they got their CIA earpieces in.
Yeah, and so now we find out that Kevin, the leader guy here, his name is McClintock or something, and he's talking with some people on the other end. I guess Miss Roosevelt.
I don't know. There's some government. It's kind of like a secret government organization.
Yeah,
or something.
And there's some people who have very, very paid a lot of money to obtain the asset this evening. And we're like, "Oh, okay. So is someone trying to catch Jason?"
Yeah. What's the asset? What are we looking for?
Yeah,
is it one of the kids? Who is it?
We don't quite know yet.
Yeah. So then that's the end of issue 1 with Jason about to kill Violet and Rich. And then we go to issue 2 starts. I will say there's like 40 covers for each of these issues, which I thought was interesting.
Some of the covers are really fantastic.
I was like, man, John's got a lot of artwork to pick from for this one, so he's going to have a lot of pictures to throw up if he wants. But, so we cut to right where we were at before. Jason's chasing Rich and Violet, and they're running and they're doing pretty good. They're getting away, but Jason grabs her, and luckily Rich has a little baby knife on him because Jason's about to chop her in half, and he stabs Jason in the dick, which makes Jason let go. Surprisingly, I'm like, Jason's got a wiener. Apparently, Jason does.
He's like, "Ow, I felt that."
Yeah, and so they haul ass as he kind of lets her drop, pulls that out. He's like, "Son of a bitch," and so they see a little crevice in the rocks, and they're like, "Holy shit, let's get in there." He's too big to get in there, so they squeeze into this little cave that has a crevice opening, and he tries to get in, and he can't get him. So he's like, "Well, fuck it then. I'm leaving him." So then they are able to get out. They wait for him to leave, and surprisingly, I would not leave that spot personally. Like, I wouldn't be like,
No.
he's gone.
He's gone. He definitely isn't like hiding behind the side of it, waiting for us to come out.
Yeah, so like they wait, and it continues, and then they're like, okay, I guess he's gone now. So they run out, and he's not there waiting for them. He is left fully, and then they actually are able to meet up with the African American couple and the handyman guy, and then they're like, something's going on here, handyman. Like, you all know what's going on. We saw him. You saw him. Like we're all orphans. What the fuck? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah,
He's like, so yeah, and then Kevin shows up too, and he's like, he tells the handyman, "Why don't you go check for some of the other kids, and like I'll stay here with these guys, and we'll figure out what's going on." Right.
So the only couple that's left is the lesbian couple. They are not all together. The lesbian couple, or the two girls that are a couple, they are starting to get hot and heavy. One of them starts taking off her shirt. They start making out, and the handyman is like, "You know what? I'm supposed to round them up, but I'm gonna wait. What's a couple minutes gonna hurt? I'm gonna watch them."
What's the worst that could happen if I just stand here and watch?
Right. So as he's watching them, Jason grabs his face.
Jason says, "No, you will not be. You will not be a what is that? A peeping Tom.
Exactly.
This is not for your eyes."
Yes.
And he kills him, but in the best way possible.
He chops him from the bottom up, so through the dick up, because bad boy.
Yeah. How dare you? You will get no pleasure from this.
Yeah. So that's a pretty gnarly kill. And it doesn't look like he does it fast either. It looks like a very slow slice through his body.
Yeah.
Like, just like he puts it underneath him and just the weight of him.
And he like covers his mouth. So it's almost
he's pushing him down on it
and
pulling up at the same time, but in a slow way, So like, it just seems like it would hurt really bad. But yeah. So then the girls are like, "Do you hear something?" And then they look, and Jason's standing right next to them, and he grabs their heads. And they don't show this, which I was like, why wouldn't you show that? I guess they're like, we don't want to show two girls' faces get smashed. But he smashes their face into each other.
He smashes them together.
Yeah, because they cut to Jason's face, and it's just blood all over his face, like a punch bowl spilled in front of him or something.
Yeah.
And so,
like a punch bowl.
They die. Or like two melons. He just smashing melons in front of his face, and all that juice gets everywhere. So then we cut to the government office again. They're talking to... what's his face? McClintock. And so they're like, "God damn it, you better get this guy where we need him when we need him. Like, he's supposed to be standing on the X or whatever."
Yeah, like ground zero or something.
Yeah, another thing I noticed in this comic is it is very cold in this comic.
Oh, yeah, even when the girl wears shirts.
No matter what, always has hard nips, right? She's cutting through glass.
In every panel.
Oh, to be fair, the guys are too. So
that's true. So it's cold.
But, it's equal. Whenever the guys aren't wearing. Well, actually, the guys aren't wearing shirts ever in this. So most of them are wearing either like low tank tops or whatever, or just no shirt at all. So, but yeah, the girls, they draw them a specific way because they can, I guess. So, but yeah, so now we're left with just the last two couples, the African American couple, and then we got the two guys. Not the two guys. There were one guy, McClintock, and the African American couple and Rich and Violet. There you go. And so, Violet and Rich and the African American couple are like, where is they call him not McClintock. Kevin. They call him Kevin. They're like, where the fuck is Kevin? He said he was going to meet us here. He told us to be here specifically. And then he comes out with a shotgun. He's like, exactly. Y'all stay where you're at. And then they're like, what the fuck? why is he shooting at us? They just start running away. And because basically they needed, Jason to be right where they were, kind of thing. So everybody takes off running in the woods. It's kind of fucking everybody up, but everybody in the woods finds their dead friends and then like freak out. So that's where like that's how basically Kevin or McClintock, he's waiting for them to kind of come back to him because he knows Jason's out in those woods right there. And the African American couple stumbles upon Jason, and Jason kills them. And so all we're left with now is Rich and Violet. They, like I said, they found their friend chopped up, and they're like, "Oh my god!" So they run away back to right where Kevin needed him to be, and then Jason follows them.
And he's right where they needed him to be.
Yeah.
He is the subject.
He's literally standing
after.
on an X of dead corpses, and then all of a sudden, all these army guys pop out of the ground and start blowing him away. Just start shooting him, and they're like, "Is he dead?" And then he like stabs one of them through the head. They're like, "No, keep going!" They just keep shooting him. It's not working, so they spray him with this stuff that
it looked like. I guess it's like a liquid nitrogen or something.
I guess is what it is. They freeze him basically. They pull a T2 on him.
Yeah.
So they're like, we can't do anything. We'll freeze him. And so they literally put him frozen, and we find out he is definitely the asset, and that is where we start issue 3. Frozen Jason is the asset. Once again, 15 covers, and they load him now on a I imagine they're just going to put him on this truck like a wrecker.
Yeah.
Or just leave him unboxed or he's just sitting on the wrecker.
Just like a statue.
Yeah,
in the
just
back
frozen.
Of his car.
He's got his machete out and everything. It's pretty funny. But yeah, like, so he's there, and I'm like, wow, like, you would imagine he's going to be defrosting fairly fast in this human environment.
Yeah.
Wherever the fuck they are. It does not look like it's freezing or anything. Except like I said, the girls seem
Yeah,
cold,
but I mean, like, so it's like 60 degrees, not like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good that you know that temperature.
I'm just saying in general.
You're like, well, whatever it's 60, I get nippy. So, yeah. So anyway, McClintock is like, we have the asset, ma'am. They're like, oh, that's good. That's good. So
you'll get your money when we get him to the rendezvous point.
Exactly. So now it's kind of like Rich and Violet kind of following them as they take Jason to like a helicopter pickup area, and they actually get caught, because they're stupid kids and the military is involved. So they get caught as they're trying to spy on them and see what's going on. But as they are, Jason's it's hot lights. These hot lights are shining.
They got these big spotlights when they're chaining him up to the helicopter, and they're gonna like start pulling him up. And yeah, they have like these big, halogen spotlights that are like just blaring down on the ice body. You see it start to drip and stuff.
Yeah.
So something's about to happen. And then sure enough, as soon as they start to get Jason up high enough, and the kids, right at this time, the kids are also like
they're escaping. They shoot at the helicopter with a shotgun, actually, and it blows up the helicopter, which I'm like, really? One shotgun? All right. But it could have also been because he flies down on fire.
Yeah. With a helicopter blade.
Yeah, so fuck that machete. He got a helicopter.
Now he's got like a 12-foot long machete, basically.
Yes. So he starts going ham on all the soldiers there. And then
I wish they would have shown the only thing
that
this
is true.
opportunity.
They missed an
like
opportunity.
A scene of like just cutting like 5 or 10 people in a row, just like
just all in
like
half.
one long row of people.
You know what? There had to be a page. Maybe they took it out for some reason because I can't see them doing that without that page.
It just seems like, why do you give Jason a 12-foot long machete and not like use it?
Yeah, no, I agree. They missed an opportunity there. So anyway, they're running from this fire blast. The kids, Violet and Rich, they see the nitrogen truck that had the freezing liquid nitrogen in it. They hijack it, but little do they know, Jason jumps on the back of that motherfucker. And as they're driving, like the government is obviously cordoned off this whole area, so they're about to hit a roadblock, and they start getting shot at or whatever. And then Jason, this was a weird scene. I wasn't sure exactly what was going on because, so the truck gets hit with all these bullets and everything. Mm-hmm. It hits a landmine, I'm assuming is what that is or something, and it blows up one of its wheels, which then like the truck tips over.
Yeah, and the kids come out.
But the kids are stuck, and then Jason like reaches in and almost looks like he's giving him a hand, not like he's trying to help them, not kill them. Which I was like, okay, that's weird looking. It might have just been the way they drew it. But then he comes out of the fiery front of the truck, and he's on fire, and he's got his blade still, and he starts going ham on all the guards and everything that are on this block, and she ends up shooting, or Violet ends up grabbing a shotgun and shooting the nitrogen, and it blows up and it blasts everybody in the radius, including all the soldiers, except her and Rich. And Jason, who's chasing them, gets it all on his back. And so basically, like the front of his face is not covered, but the rest of his body is covered in this liquid nitrogen, so he's frozen again, right as he was about to kill them. So obviously he wasn't helping them. But it looked like the drawing confused me because
it was that was a kind of a chaotic
like,
scene.
oh, we're on this together. Like we're against the government.
Yeah, because you don't want me to get caught by the government and
Yeah.
studied, right?
Yeah. And so so that they leave everything frozen, and they're like, wow, that's crazy. This is all going to thaw soon, and I don't think he's going to give up on us, so we should get out of here as soon as possible. So instead of like shattering him, like T2, which they should have done. They just leave him there to defrost, and they walk away down the road, and then
This was kind of a weird thing too.
yeah, I wasn't sure exactly what happened here, but basically
They
they wave for like help to a car passing by, and it happens to be McClintock.
Oh, is it McClintock?
I think it's McClintock.
He doesn't have his hat, so I couldn't tell, and they didn't say McClintock.
I'm pretty
or
sure it's
Kevin.
him.
They were like they jump in, and he's like, where you headed? And they're like, basically wherever you're going. And he says, well, I'm going to hell, and I'm taking you with me.
Yes, I think it is McClintock because he looks like him.
He's got a beard, but I couldn't.
Fuck
he had a
fine.
hat the whole time, so I wasn't sure.
It would have helped if they said Kevin. Or
Kevin,
something,
yeah.
Kevin. And then, but yeah, then you just hear like bam, bam, and then we cut to Jason defrosting, and then some hunters chasing after a deer stupidly, weirdly.
Run after it. That's how you get him.
And as they run after the deer, they actually see Jason defrosting. Like, wait, what's this guy doing here? Then he chops them in half, and then we see down the road, it was actually they somehow were able to shoot the guy in the face, Kevin, or just a random guy, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
And they kicked him out of the car, and now they have the car, and that's it.
And they're like, man, what a hell of a night. And Jason goes back about his business back to the lake, and they drive off into the sunset.
As you do. So I was wondering if John realized this, but I believe this is supposed to be an actual like interlude between Jason Goes to Hell, which is Jason 9, or Friday the 13th Part 9, and Jason X, which is Friday the 13th Part 10.
No, I didn't get so I'm feel like a bad friend here. I've only watched them through once with you, and that was a long time ago. That was like early in our friendship.
I can't believe
Been
it.
friends over 15 years now.
I can't believe it.
And I know I've watched a few. I've shown Sarah because Sarah had never seen any, so I've seen a few with Sarah, but I haven't gone back. So the next one we're reading, well, I'll just say ahead of time, is Jason versus Jason X, and like getting into that one was like, I vaguely remember Jason X. It's Jason in space, and Matt's like, no, there's like a whole 20 minutes. It's not. I was like, I didn't remember that at all. So apparently we need to rewatch.
Yeah. So I was
Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X.
Yeah, I was reminding him that in Jason X, it starts off with a government, like secret government organization that has been studying Jason Voorhees. They've have him in like a special compound that no one knows about, and then he somehow gets frozen and then wakes up 500 years in the future. So that's what Jason X is in space because of that. But it starts off in our modern day, whereas this is actually setting up the idea that the government is after Jason to study him. So I was like, oh, this is kind of like a bridge.
Well, that's fun then.
Between the two. So if you enjoy that kind of mythology growing, this one you might like as well. I did think this one, story-wise, did not need to be 3 issues long.
No.
It was just like, it was weird because some stuff I'm like, you could have cut that out, but kept or added the helicopter blade scene that we were talking about. Things like that could have been cooler. Or maybe extend the murder scene.
They
a
had
little bit or
some
something.
really good deaths in the beginning,
did.
and then the deaths kind of tapered
Yeah, it
off.
would be like one panel, and I'm like, wait, no.
Yeah, because the deaths in the beginning too were like either a full page or like a 3/4 page
Right.
spread.
Yeah, or at least a couple panels long where it's
Yeah.
like slashing, smashing.
Flashing through the.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. There is no snow.
Exactly.
But
Well,
yeah,
there is at the end.
At the end, that's true. I
With
guess
the
with the nitrogen.
But yeah, so it was a little disappointing in some areas. It was a little long, but it was fine. It was exactly what I expected from an Avatar title. You expect not as tight as like a DC Wildstorm title, but there was more blood, there was more gore, there was more boobs. So
Something for everybody.
yeah, little something for everybody there. So check that one out if it sounded cool to you. What would you give this one as far as thumbs?
Like I said, it kind of tapers off towards the end, but there was enough that I was in it and I was interested. And like I said, some of the deaths were really.
How many Pamela heads would you give this one?
How many what?
Pamela heads.
Oh, Pamela heads. I'd give this like solid 3 Pamela heads.
Pamela heads. Okay, so 3 out of 10 or 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, like an average. Yeah. I might give this one like compared to the Wildstorm ones. I would put this down lower than those.
Yeah,
and I figure some of those Wildstorm ones they're either average or they're like a little above average. So this one's a little lower than those, but still fun. Still better than the Tops one, I think. Even though that one was fun, it didn't have anything to do with like lore wise, and I like that this kind of establishes some of the lore for the movies. So, next time we are going to be reading the last final entry into these Jason Comics miniseries, and for now at least, until me and John start writing our own Jason Comics for whenever they let us do it.
We're gonna write that Freddy versus Jason versus Leatherface. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. We're gonna do everything. We're gonna write everything we want. Anyway, but yeah, that one's gonna be called Jason versus Jason X, which sounds epic. I have no idea how it's gonna tie together in the movies or anything. But if you want to refresh your course, John, you should definitely watch Jason X in time for that. Maybe we'll watch that this weekend or something.
Maybe.
But yeah, we will see you guys on the next one.
On the next one.
With Jason X versus Jason. Bye.